Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Living rhythm inside each one of us. It's the essence of who we are. This rhythm that's a part of us. A living rhythm inside of me. I hear it beat me like a drum. To reach the highest frequency, I must return to when I was young. Na-na-na-na. Young, yeah. Young, na-na-na-na. Na-na-na-na. Yeah.
Hello, hello. I'm Misty Lee, and I want to welcome you to Once Upon a Time, discovering the road to your personal fairy tale. I'm going to come to you and tell you some stories. I'm going to share some of my friends are going to come and share with you as well. And we're going to let you welcome yourself back into the art of make-believe. And I don't come to you as someone who's just sitting up here on my imaginary throne telling you stories. I come to you as someone who's lived through this myself, and I'm going to share with you. And I hope you'll get comfortable over the next 90 minutes. What I could do is read to you a very long and lengthy bio of 55 years of corporate world all the way down to milking goats for a living. But that's not who I am anymore. I could also tell you I'm an author, I'm a publisher, a compiler, a television show host now. I'm a caregiver for my disabled son. I am a wild animal who runs free barefoot most of the time, chasing chickens and animals on my property. But that's still not who I am. I'm a person who creates my life. And I learned this by copying some of the greatest people in the world. And I want you to know that it's possible for you as well. So I hope that you'll get comfortable with us over the next 90 minutes. I'm going to read a little bit of trivia questions for you. If you can comment below, we're going to send some prizes out at the end. And stay tuned because we have some goodies to give away at the very end of the show as well, after my friends come on and share with you. So some of the trivia questions I have about who I am. One of them would be, which one is true about Misty Lee? I cannot wink, I cannot whistle, I cannot do either, or I excel at both. The second question would be, Misty Lee paints landscapes, dogs and cats, big booty women, or like a 3-year-old. Misty starts her day with what animals? I'm going to let you do fill in the blank there. What's my favorite thing to do every single night? I'll let you fill in the blank there. It's outside and alone, so don't do anything more than rated PG. And for extra credit, do you remember what I wore for 100 days if you followed me on any way in a personal schedule? We'll come back to these. And then the last question is, which of these did Misty Lee use writing for? Was it to stop smoking, to stop drinking, to lose over 130 pounds, to create the life of her dreams, to help publish over 70 authors as #1 international best-selling authors in 2022, Or was it perhaps all of the above? So for the next 90 minutes, I'm going to sit with you. And again, I'm going to invite my friends to come in. I'm going to ask that you relax if possible, put your mind at ease, get a pen and a paper, and learn a little bit about make-believe with us. How are we doing on time, Stephen? We got 5 more minutes, so here's what I want to tell you. I would like to tell you a little bit about the quantum writing that we're going to discuss. That's the term I use to getting from reality to make-believe. Step 1 is going to be creating what we want in life. Step 2 is going to be walking into how to express gratitude and finding more gratitude in our world. Step 3 is going to be showing how to get exponential power with that by something I call proximity. Step 4 is bringing it all together and making it the most beautiful story of our dreams. And then step 5 is going to be putting it all in motion and finding out how you can go out and serve the world that you're in for make-believe that you pick in your life. So the first thing that I want to know, if you don't have it, Quantum Writing is available on Amazon. You don't need this to play along with us today. It's a workbook that we put out. I copied Steve Harvey. He has a beautiful program asking for 300 things that you want in life. We're going to show that video shortly. And this is what I came up with after taking copious notes in personal development for years and years. I spent outrageous amounts of money, and I don't regret it. You just don't have to do that, because at the end of the story, I found out everything I needed to know was in here and in here. I needed to trust that what I believed was possible and what I believed I was sent for was possible for me to achieve. If it has been done and it can be done, well, of course I can do it. I just had to create the story and write it in my terms. Hear my dream, my purpose, and put it on paper. And that's what I want to teach you. So today, I'm going to invite you to sit back. I'm going to introduce you to some authors today. But before I do, I want to tell you a little bit how I got here. I'm on the show today with Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris. He's with Trajectory TV and E360 TV. I saw him on a video with Miss Amy Joy in her television special, and his energy just caught my attention. And so I reached out to him. We had a phone call and fell in love instantly. I had a call with him and his husband. Our energy just clicked, and here we start working together. The next thing you know, I'm writing into my make-believe stories how we're going to work together, and I'm including him in my dreams for a television show. This was before I even knew that he had the network coming out. So here we are, 2 months, I believe, after his network started, and my manifestation has come true. And I'm excited to walk through that journey with you today, because there's nothing that I can do that you can't. So here we are. We have Kenya Whaley joining us today, Kenya Evelyn Whaley. We have Angie Jeffries, and we have some special guests that will be coming in shortly. I see Dr. Lauren. Nope, just kidding.
Hello, Misty.
There she is. Hi. I knew I saw someone popping in. It was a little delayed. Good morning, beautiful.
How exciting. This is happening.
Yes, it is happening. It is happening. Before I tell the world more about you, Kenya, I want to thank you. You and I came up with this idea before we even knew of Dr. Lauren. We said one day we were going to be on a TV show together and that you were going to be my first guest. And here we are today.
We are.
So I don't want to bore the world with a long bio on you either, because I want you to tell them who you are, and I want you to just shine. You are such a beautiful spirit, and I want to hear from you right now. So I'm going to ask you one quick question. Yes. Can you tell us who you are and how writing has changed you since the day I met you, when you said, I'm not a writer and English isn't my first language?
Yes, Misty. Hey, everyone. What a pleasure to be here. I am Kenya Evelyn Whaley, going by Kenya Evelyn. And I'm just somebody that always knew that I had a purpose, a much bigger purpose than I was giving me credit with. And when I got together with Misty, it was such a life moment. I was right in the bridge of changing my life completely, coming from 12 years of homeschooling my 3 kids. And I was just living this really beautiful but overwhelmed life. I was in the doing versus being on the being. And I was just, you were the next step, and God knew that. So this divine synchronicity just happened. And next thing I know, we're writing together. And next thing I know, I'm an author, not just an author, but 2 times international best-selling author. Writing for me gave me a new identity, an identity to trust myself so much deeper, being the permission for other people that think that they have labels. And I don't mean you think, you probably do have the labels: dyslexia, ADHD, I don't do this, I do that. Well, those are stories. Those are stories that have been coded in our bodies, because in the moment that I saw myself with the possibility to become a writer, I wrote. And I wrote first just voice memoing, if that's a word. I actually speak 3 languages, and I was everything but secure in who I was. And I don't mean that I was an insecure person. I just had a lot of limiting beliefs. Like I didn't know what I didn't know. And when I started writing, and the editor brought me back the chapter, and it was like 90% the same way I sent it in, something settled in my spirit. And not just this confidence blossom outside of me, that now I am writing constantly. I'm doing the quantum writing. Quantum writing just skyrocketed my life, because I am taking as I am the permission. If God has put this vision in my brain and I see it, that's because it's for me. And if it's for me, it's because it's for others. Like I'm just the conduit of this energetic download that brings people together to lift into their greatness. So I'm recoding my own possibilities as I give myself permission. I'm also giving everybody in my life permission, from my kids to my husband to my sisterhood, my soul sisters, and anyone that tells me I can't. My next question is, well, your wish is my command, right? Would you? Would you like to have the possibility of Ken? And what are we talking about? Is it writing? Is it singing? Is it dancing? Is that a TV show? What is it? Because
Right.
if you see it.
And so I have a question, Kenya. What have you seen since you first agreed to write in our anthology, Here Comes the Sun? That was the first one. What have you seen in your life manifest since you began to write down your dreams?
Honestly, the bridge, which was my chapter, was everything to me. Like I knew that I am a human being, a being of light, a leader, but I was very much caught up on the doing. So he actually gave me permission to sit back and actually be my word, become even more responsible with my energy. There's something to be said between typing and actually writing. And I write everything, then I type. That's just my method. So when I am writing, I'm giving myself permission to be one with my desires, with my 5 senses. And what I see is I'm a freaking miracle maker, for real.
Yes, yes.
I am the author of my life, period. We are, period. So the question is, are you aware or unaware? And do you want to be aware?
Is there something that you've written down recently that you are now in motion on that you weren't, say, maybe a month or so ago?
I am writing 50% complete a musical.
I wanted to hear you claim it out loud. Congratulations.
I am not saying a collection of songs. I'm not saying one song. I'm reclaiming my childhood dreams. There is nothing. There is no accent. There's no age. There's no, I mean, the truth is, when I show up in my power, Misty, everybody in my life wants to support me, and they also want to do them better. Like my kids want to do them better.
I have that frequency with you. They're feeling that frequency of playfulness and expansion.
My entire universe popped in glitter. And I really mean almost like unreal, like truly divine synchronicities when I claimed who I am and I felt deserved and worthy. Of course, I knew I can sing. Of course, I know I have talents, but so do you. So my question for everybody that's listening right now is, why have you been watching on the sidelines? People claim, are you supporting other people's dreams? And yes, my English is imperfect. Or are you claiming your own dreams as well as supporting, because we do us together, right? We are we here. And when I was able to, right there, to setting intentions, yes, when I was able to see myself as one with my intentions and my thoughts and my, God really became alive to me. I became alive to me.
You did. And I have one more question before we run out of time with you, Kenya. How much, you told me something recently, how long was it from the time that you really wrote down that you were absolutely going to do a musical to the time the musical will be 50% complete? Or it is now 50%. How much was that time?
Gosh, isn't that gorgeous? I didn't know you were about to pop this up. It was literally 3 days.
Beautiful. I wanted to get sure that before we run out of time. So Kenya wrote down 3 days later, she had already begun the musical, and now it's pouring from her because it's just coming from her in a creative nature. So I love that we shared that. Thank you, Dr. Lori.
I claimed the thought. I claimed the dream back. Why a musical, not a concert? Because that's what my little girl always wanted. That's what I always wanted. And in me writing this story, I know it will impact people's life completely different than a concert.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I love it. I'm so glad that you got to come. Yes, thank you. I feel the same way. It is magical that we got to have this today and that we aligned our lives. You know, both Kenya and I both wrote in a book called Align. We'll talk about that later. Yes. And our alignment and our frequency alignment made this possible for us to be on this show today. So I really appreciate you coming in here virtually with us and being the first guest on the show.
Thank you so much. I love you. I see you. And you guys go do you. Like, completely claim the dreams of your heart. We got this.
Yes.
Change the world one at a time.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Kenya. And I know one of these days I look forward to you sitting right next to me in person, and we will do it in person, and I'll get to hear your lovely voice directly into my ear. And I cannot wait for your musical, so keep me informed. How can everyone find you out there? I know that we're going to put the links up.
KenyaEvelyn.com. Music is who I am in nature. And also, you know, I have a movement. I mentor women. I mentor people into their dreams. And that's all intertwined together through frequencies. I'm a frequency coach. Thank you. I love you. I see you.
Thank you. I love you. Kenya teaches something called the frequency code. So be sure you check her out at KenyaEvelyn.com, and we'll be sure to put her things in the links as well. I would like to get us ready to go to a clip from Mr. Steve Harvey. I think most of us have heard of him, a comedian, an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, game show host. His bio goes on. And he has a really beautiful clip that he does about the 300 challenge. And we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that. My first answer to my trivia questions, I want to come back to those. So, anyone have any guesses in here? Angie, do you have any guesses which one is true? If I cannot wink, cannot whistle, cannot do either, or do I excel at both?
You excel at both.
Angie thinks I excel at both. I actually cannot wink, nor can I whistle. I'm really good at blinking with both eyes. Misty paints landscapes, dogs and cats, big booty women, or like a 3-year-old. Deborah, what do you think? Deborah is caught up. She thinks I paint big booty women, and I do. I bet we'll get one of those in the frame. I have painted since I got sober in 2014, and for some reason, I love to paint women with nice big booties. What animals do I start my day with? I'll just save everyone the suspense. It's chickens, guineas, and dogs. Also, any random wildlife that come by. My favorite thing to watch every night is the sunset. And the extra credit was I wore a wool dress for 100 days last year as a challenge for minimalism. I also stopped drinking in 2014 using writing, stopped smoking in 2014 using writing. I lost over 130 pounds using writing. And I've created the life of my dreams, and I celebrate that daily using writing. And then I also helped to publish over 70 authors and bring them to a #1 international best-selling status last year, obviously using writing. So when I say that I believe that writing can get you to any dream that you can see, I mean that. I believe that if we watch the Steve Harvey video together and spend the rest of our time together today, by the end, you'll have everything you need to create the dream that you desire based on the dreams you have seen as yours. So I welcome you to watch the Steve Harvey video with us now. and he says it better than anyone else that I know. So I will see you on the other side of the video.
I'm gonna give you 2 things that I want you to do. If you do these 2 things, it will transform your life. I'm a motivational speaker when I'm not doing this, and the reason I do really well as a motivational speaker, because I know what I'm talking about. You know, you looking at somebody been at the bottom before. So I'm not like some rich dude whose mama and them had some money and gave me some money. Now I'm telling y'all how to get over. No, I'm gonna tell you how to get over because I've been under. I'm gonna tell you how to get up because I've been down. I'm gonna tell you how to finish because I got off to a bad start. Now I'm about to tell you 2 things. Now listen to me. What I'm about to tell you, this is for spiritual people only. If you're not a spiritual person, this ain't for you. If you don't believe in God, this ain't finna do nothing for you. But I ain't know you was coming, so I have no other version. This is only people who have a faith. You ain't got to be no like born again Christian or nothing like that. You got to know that God is God. If you understand that, I can help you from here. I'm gonna give you 2 things that can change your life. It's 2 scriptures that changed my entire life. It's very simple. The cold thing about what I'm finna tell you is anybody can do it. This is what I'm finna tell you. See, I'm not finna talk to you about no education because I ain't got one. I flunked out of school. I had a severe stuttering problem. I couldn't talk outside my house. I ain't do well in school ever. I ended up flunking out of school. I'm on my 3rd marriage. I lost everything I've owned twice. I've been homeless and lived in a car for 3 years. I'm finna tell you what I know. This ain't no fancy rich boy answer, no theories, no, you ain't got to buy no program to do this. You ain't got to go sign up. I'm telling you right now, what I'm finna tell you, if you apply it right now, can change your existence. Because everybody I know want to be happy. Everybody I know want to be successful. If you don't want them 2 things, there's something wrong with you anyway. So now here, there is a scripture that I'm going to give you. It's a very small scripture. It's very short. I don't even know where it is in the Bible. Somebody probably know it if I say it, but I'm going to give it to you. This scripture changed my life. You have not because you ask not. You have any idea how major those words are for you? You have not because you ask not. It's such a simple scripture, but it's in your Bible. It ain't just in rich people's Bible. It's in the same copy you got. You have not because you ask not. This is the truest statement you'll hear me say today, because it's true. Most people don't have the life of their dreams because you don't ask God for the life of your dreams. You've been trying to figure it out and handle it yourself. Well, how that's working out for you? You know how hard that is to do, man? Because I did it. I did it for 30-some years. I tried to figure it out myself. Man, the simple scripture says you have not because you ask not. If you up your ask, he automatically ups his give. You his child. God created you. He made you. You ain't just here by no accident. You ain't here because of your mama and daddy. Where your mom and daddy come from? Somebody started this whole thing. God created you. He gave you these little simple things you could do. You have not because you ask not. Second reason people don't have what they want, I'm gonna be through with you. They don't have it written down. This is a very, very important piece to success. It's a principle of success. Every wealthy person knows this. I don't know nobody wealthy don't have a vision board. I don't know nobody wealthy don't have their stuff written on a piece of paper. I don't know nobody. I know a lot of people doing good. We have discussed it at great lengths. They've showed me some of their vision boards that why I had to go back and change mine. I went, whoa, whoa, whoa. But you gotta have a vision board. It's gotta be written down. You know why? Because that's a scripture too. Habakkuk 2:2. Go, I know where this one at. Habakkuk 2 and 2. Go home and read that one. It says, write the vision and make it plain, so that he who reads it will run to it. And even though it tarry, that means take a long time, wait for it, for surely it will come at an appointed time.
Hey Misty, Crystal Clinny here with Intuitive Human. Just wanted to send you a quick congratulations on your new television show, which I am sure will serve many in your journey. Just as you helped us under your awesome tutelage putting together the Here Comes the Sun compilation last summer. I really enjoyed working with you, and I'm sure so many others have as well, and I can't wait for what the TV show will produce and how you can reach many and have your impact around the world. Congratulations again.
Hi, welcome back to Trajectory TV and Once Upon a Time, Discovering the Road to Your Personal Fairy Tale. I'm Misty Lee, and I want to talk to you a little bit about what I call quantum writing and how to create the life that you imagine is yours. And I want to teach you, or at least help you remember, how you used to make this happen when we were younger, when we believed in anything and everything being possible. When I think back to the 80s, I remember aerobics on television. And there was one person over here kind of just doing the aerobics. Then there was a person in the middle, doing the normal amount. And then there was a person over here that I call the Buttercup version. I have a friend called Buttercup. If you know her, if you ever get to meet her, you'll know what I'm talking about. And she was the version bouncing off the walls. And I want to give you each one of these versions in a writing experiment. So no one has to get kicked. No one's going to pull any muscles. I'm just going to ask you to get a pen and a paper and play along if you'd like, so that when you leave here today, you have everything that you need to change your life forever. Steve Harvey just said it best if you were paying attention. And I'm going to go ahead and add to him that he may have said it's only for people who are faith-based. I want to say that if you believe in magic, miracles, or magic mushrooms, it doesn't matter. The problem or the magic is in believing, and the problem or the lack of magic is in not believing. So you call it what you want. We'll get through the next 30 minutes or so as we go through this. And then my show, at the end of the show, like I said, we'll have some guests that'll be coming on, and we'll have some surprises for you. So I want to use a visual. Imagine that this is your vision board. If it came from somewhere like, say, IKEA, each one of these pieces would be a separate piece of plastic. So you have a want here. Oh, I see those boots. I like those boots. Oh, I wish I had that car over here. So if they're not put together, it's very fleeting. It's very easy to lose a piece or to forget that you saw something that you wanted. So the first step is just to assemble the vision board, the vision book, the vision paperwork. It can come in whatever format you want, but it's to assemble it. So the Quantum Writing 300 is a book I put together, but it's based on what Steve Harvey said. It's writing down on paper the 300 things you want. And your brain will try to fit them all in this tiny little spot right here. Most of us get stuck between 50 and 75. I actually got stuck a little bit sooner than that. Some people can sail through to 100 before they kind of go, wait a minute, what do I want? So as you begin to use your imagination to think of bigger and bigger possibilities, it expands your vision. It expands your vision board. And the nice thing about allowing this to expand is that you can continually bring that expansion space back into your bed at night. And then you can say, well, what if it was even better than that? And every morning you re-expand. You're not losing ground, you're just expanding more every day, like a balloon being built, like a balloon being blown and just expanded and expanded. And the only limit is our own imagination. So for our first aerobics person over here, you can do this by every night putting 5 minutes, 7 nights a week, 5 minutes of putting a few things on pieces of paper. So using your quantum writing list, if you've got your 300 things, you could just start there. 5 minutes a night, just write some of the things that you know you want in your life. Not things you wish for, things you want. You want bad enough to do something about. So go ahead and just spend 5 minutes a night on that. If you do that and you assemble a list of 300, Steve Harvey is right. Misty Lee did it. Steve Harvey did it. Tony Robbins did it. Oprah Winfrey did it. Jennifer Aniston did it. We could go on for days, literally, of all the greats. They wrote them down. They put it in assembly. Once they wrote it down, they began to experience gratitude for what they already. And when they did this, their sphere began to spin a little faster. And when it did, it closed up these holes that allowed your energy to leak out. What I mean by that, if I have a goal to run the Boston Marathon, and that's dead center in the middle of my goals, but I'm out here drinking with my buddies every night and sleeping till noon, that's a wish, right? That's not a want. I'm stepping outside of my circle. So the more of my life I've spent thinking and where I want to be and spend my time where I want to be, this fills in so nicely that it's harder and harder to spill out of alignment. And I mean that by, someone who's lost 100 pounds, or say 50 pounds, or even 10 pounds. And the next thing you know, they're up 15. And you think, well, no, that doesn't make sense. That person lost weight. Why did they gain it back? Why would you do that? We do that because we didn't tighten up our want list while we were losing weight, and we're spilling out this energy. And that spill allows us to go back and not save that protected space of growth. Don't get lost. It's a lot of words. The easiest thing is imagine that as a grown-up, you get to take the world's biggest Toys R Us catalog or Sears and Roebuck catalog or whatever time frame you come from, and you get to pick out 300 things and be specific. What kind of cars do you want? What kind of clothes do you want? Do you have children? Do you want to buy them a home? Do you want to give them a check? How do you want to retire? Do you want to travel? Do you want a different type of relationship? And if so, what does that look like to you? So capture these words. Make sure that you know what you mean when you say that. So if you say you want $1 million, for what? What's the point of the $1 million unless you know how that's going to look for you? So begin to capture those words. So as a child, I used to get spelling lists, and the teacher would give me, say, 10 words and tell me to write sentences and make sure I used all 10. The quantum writing list is going to be your spelling word for when you journal at night if you decide to go past that 5-minute mark. But the 5-minute nightly aerobics class is just writing things I want, and we're going to add some secret extra credit sauce, things I was grateful for in the day. 5 minutes, 7 nights a week. Do it just for 1 week, and I think you'll see it change your life. I've committed to do it for the full year, and I have seen my life change dramatically. So I would challenge that you do it. But if you just want to do it the 5 minutes a night, those things will change your life. And again, those aren't just my words. Those are words I've copycatted from multiple people and taken great attention at how they succeeded. So now we're going to come to the medium aerobics lady. You've been doing this 5 minutes, and you're like, you know what? I actually kind of do feel a little bit better about my life. So I'm going to tell you what else I use writing for. I use writing to control my emotions. So if I've got something big coming up, say my first live television show, and let's say it has a typo in the entrance at the beginning. So I could have freaked out, or I could just say to you right now, the thing that was missing in the words at the beginning was you. So I used writing to write through this experience. I've written about this show. I've written about funny experiences that might come up that could be considered problems, but they're not to me because I've already experienced this through my writing. So as a medium aerobics girl, what I do with my writing at night is not only do I do my time of my 300, I get detailed in what that 300 is going to look like, smell like, taste like, sound like, who's going to be around me when I get any of those items. Then I get very detailed about anything that made me smile during the day. Something I call a wink from the universe. Maybe it gave me a little chill, or what we call in the South a goosebump. A goosebump. Some people call them goose pimples, I think. So you know that feeling when you're like, oh, I got a good feeling when I met that person. You also know when you get it and it's not a good feeling, and you can allow those spirits and things to go on out about their way if they don't serve you. So as the medium aerobics person, you really want to capture more of the words of gratitude that you experience of the day, the little magical moments that you were thinking about someone and they called. Write those things down. And we have a tendency to write just what we didn't like about our day. So if you can see, I haven't talked about any of those in our journal. I'm not asking you to re-experience anything that wasn't perfect. I'm saying that you already know about that. So let's just spend our writing time, if it's limited, to the time of what we do want in life. So we've got our beginning aerobics is 5 minutes a day. Every day we're going to write. In the middle aerobics column, we're going to really dig deeper and get more detailed in that. And then we're going to spend our journaling time only talking about what we do want. I'll give you a quick example. I have a disabled child, and sometimes our nights are a little bit rough. And I would love to get up and write, oh, I had a rough night, it kept me up all night, but that wouldn't really start my day in the kind of energy I want to start my day with. I serve authors all day long, and I serve some incredible people. So I need to bring this energy to the phone call or to the Zoom call. And sometimes you wake up and you're a little bit tired. So what I do is use my writing. I go in and write the best possible outcome of the day before the day even starts. And that's what I would call that mid-level aerobics class. This is where you can see monumental shifts in your workout, because 5 minutes a day is not going to get you to that next level. It'll get you healthy. So that's that next level session of writing. Now I'm going to also invite you to enjoy my train, and I'm going to speak a little bit louder while we get to that third level aerobics instructor. So this is the person that's going all out, and they are looking for massive change in their life. I have used writing for this as well. I've used writing to become sober and stay sober, to lose 130 pounds and keep my weight off. And I'll give you some examples of how I've done that, and we'll come into this a little bit more at the end. I wanted to lose 100 pounds. However, as most of us know, you've got to love the entire journey. It's got to be a pound at a time. And I didn't know what skinny people did. I actually didn't know what sober people did. That's one of the things that really got my writing into a higher power, what I'll call. I stopped drinking and I found it quite boring, actually. And I thought, what do sober people even do? I started looking at my journals, and I had done a lot of complaining in my journals. So I knew a lot about what sober people didn't enjoy doing. I also, by looking through my old journals, knew a lot about what I did the first 2 or 3 weeks after a breakup. And then I put those journals away. So this time I decided to do a little bit different. I decided to not put the journal away, stick with it this time. You're going to make a massive change in your life. You got to do something daily, and you got to be consistent. I know how success works. So I applied it to writing. I looked around and said, what do sober people do? And I started taking notes. Then I looked around and I asked sober people, how do they spend their days? And I started taking notes. And I began to write that into my journal. And the first thing I wrote was about kayaking. Never kayaked a day in my life. But I began to write a story. And at that time, I'll tell you folks, I was about 300 pounds. And I couldn't imagine having been on a kayak and not topping over, actually. But I now live on a property that has a giant pond in the back, and I kayak on a regular basis on my own property. And it's because I allowed myself to imagine a life where I was fit enough, and I was sober, and I was able to live this. And that's really that final icing on the cake, so to speak, is trusting that you can achieve the things that you put in here. So the 300 helps us fine-tune our visions. The 300 helps us keep them encapsulated so that we can choose whether we're working inside our vision or outside of our vision. Doing it regular gives it energy. It gives it momentum. Doing it longer and in a more positive state gives it even more momentum. And then finding other people that you can have these kind of communications with, that you can have conversations with about growth, They don't have to even understand your dream as long as they can support that you are dreaming and that dreaming is okay and acceptable. So that was a lot to go into about how we can use writing to change our life. And sometimes I think people might think, well, that's just silly. This woman's lost her mind. It's absurd. These are words that I used. So I want to give you a little bit of a I don't know what they call handicap, if we will, like if you're bowling or something. So when I took this lesson the first time, I was at a personal development class in Sun Valley, Idaho in early 2018, and I was presented with the challenge to write down 100 things that I wanted. There were no limitations. It could cost as much as it wanted. I just had to write them down. And I want to let you know that I walked out of the class and refused to do the interview because I personally decided that everyone in that room was greedy and that they didn't appreciate what they had because I misunderstood the value of the exercise. So I would like to invite you that when you do this list, and I hope you'll do it today, I hope you'll do it with your family, with your spouse, with your partner, and especially alone so you can be brutally honest. Release yourself of any monetary judgments. Make note of them when you think to yourself, I don't need that. Do I deserve that? Would I really want that? Well, that would be a waste. That would cost too much. Those are silly. And I'm going to use, I have a dear friend, Julia Catton, and I'm sure you'll see her at some point with us, but she has authored with me several times, and we have something called the Birkin bag analogy. First time I ever found out what a Birkin bag was, it was in a rap song, and I finally looked it up and found out it was a $100,000 purse. And I thought to myself, well, that's absurd. And then my daughter educated me a little bit more about what a Birkin bag was and what you have to do in your life to be able to have one. And now that I understand something that was outside my scope of imagination, I added it to my own vision board. So for the sake of dreaming, allow yourself to dream like a 4-year-old. There are no limitations on what you're allowed to dream. And any limitations you put on the dream are little nuggets that will help you unlock your ability to expand. And remember, this is your imagination and your dreaming. So the only limitations are what you put on it. All right, one more time. 5 minutes a night, 7 days a week, you're going to write things that you want, anything you want in life. And you're going to write things you're grateful for. If you want to take it in that next level, you're going to really dig for anything that kind of gets you excited, gives you those chill bumps, seems like a coincidence or lucky. Oh, capture all those. You see 4 red birds in a row and you go, oh, write those things down in your journal that night. Resist the urge to write about the lady in front of you at line at the grocery store. You know what happened with her. Write the magic. And then when you're ready to go to that next level, pro level aerobic writer, and you're ready to be able to touch those toes, then you begin to write every day specific stories with sights, scenes. What can I hear? What can I see? Who's with me? What am I eating when this magical event occurs? Step into that moment and feel that gratitude. Well, then that's where the magic occurs and unlocks. So in just 1 second, I'm going to bring in an amazing author named Janine Emily. She's a singer, a songwriter. She's a #1 international best-selling author, and she is here with me in person. And I'm very excited to bring her on stage and let her on stage. This is our stage. Come on in, Janine. Yay!
I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me, thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me, thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me, thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me, thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me, thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me, thank you. I'm sorry, I love you, forgive me, thank you.
Oh, welcome back. You got to get to witness Miss Kenya Evelyn singing that beautiful prayer. That is just a repetition of 4 really powerful phrases. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. That is such a way to bless it. We played that before our show to bless this show. So I really appreciate the producer playing that for us during that break. Thank you. So today I have Miss Janine Emily with me, and I would like for you to tell me a little bit about you and what you've got going on, and then I have a question for you.
Oh, goodness. My name is Janine Emily Mazursky, and first and foremost, I'm a very grateful believer, child of God, and I'm so happy to be here with Misty. Just adore this lady. As she mentioned, I am a writer. That includes technical writing, authoring, songwriting. I'm an influencer, and right now I'm working on a special project that with my significant other, just got engaged to Tracy Lee Smith, who is in the audience today, and it involves music, performance, songwriting, speaking engagements, you know, a TV show in the works, a lot of things. So it will be called Hearts in Sync, and a lot more to come on that.
I'm very excited. So just, you and I met, I think, October or September?
Yes. Yes.
So just about 4 months ago we met. And how long has all this been going on with the TV show and the all the expansion in your life?
Since then.
Kind of led you into that.
Yes, I knew it. And first and foremost, I forgot to tell you my middle name. It's Hell Yes, because on that day, I was in a lot of pain. It was before I had surgery to correct an injury, and I was invited to this networking event in the Dallas area, and I really didn't want to go. I was in pain, all of those good things. I decided to say hell yes, and I ended up sitting right next to this lady, and all is said and done. I wrote a chapter in the Align book, which I'm just so excited about this book. We are now #1 international best-selling authors. And since then, my whole world has blown up. And it's because of this lady and saying yes.
That's what it's because.
Saying yes. Yes.
I was just a place of expansion. She is the one who had to say yes. And what's interesting is that I also didn't want to go that day. I wanted to hole up in my house and, I'm going to have to get up and I'm going to have to do those things. And I thought, no, that's not really it's not within my goal. I want to go out and meet new people. And so I came and I got to sit next to this beautiful woman. And I've been saying yes to a lot of things since then. So congratulations on the success of Align. I do have a question. As a songwriter and as a writer, I always am teaching people to repeat themselves until it's in them. And I wanted you to speak a little bit about that. With the songwriter, you obviously, or I'm guessing, have to have some repetition to get it where you can just pull it up, muscle memory.
Absolutely. But I want to start by saying, I learned this a long time ago, that practice does not make perfect. It makes permanent.
Right.
So when you're practicing, when you are repeating things, you want to make sure that what you're doing is serving you well and are the right things.
Mhm.
So yes, songwriting is a process just like any other form of writing. A little difference between songwriting is I only have 2.5, 3 minutes to reel you in and tell my message and give you a feeling versus other forms of writing. So yes, like they say, wash, rinse, repeat. You want to learn the foundations first, and that's kind of what I did. And then when I decided to take it to that next level, I sought out mentors, Grammy Award-winning songwriters. I gave them my songs, received feedback, went back and did a rewrite. Okay, so it's okay to not be perfect right off the bat.
Right.
You go back, you rewrite again, you rewrite a bit, rewrite again. You're getting here your story out on paper, and you want to make sure that the way you're presenting that story is the best way possible to give it as a gift to other people, right? So that's kind of what I've been doing is just every single day I get up, and sometimes I wake up with a melody in my head and I write things down immediately, or I record it in my phone.
Mhm.
I go back to it, and I oftentimes the finished product is like 10 times a rewrite.
Yeah, yeah. There's a couple of things that you pointed out. Number one, I will have my story. It's not the same as a song, but I'll be just, making a lunch or something and go, oh, they need to be doing this in the story, even though it's my story of my future. So I find those things to happen too. I'll be carrying it with me. So Oprah Winfrey said she doesn't do a vision board anymore. And at first I was a little like, oh, don't say that. And then I realized that I actually have built that muscle memory that I can carry that story in my head, but it's because I've done so much writing. And so I love that you said the same thing. You know how to pull out the song, you know every key, but it's because you repeated it. And
Yes.
now you can put it on the shelf
Yes.
for a little while.
That's exactly right. Yes. And when you learn the foundations and you have a firm, even homes are built on a foundation, and then you do some remodeling. So it's kind of the same concept. And then you can kind of like, once you learn that foundation, you could break the rules a little and go outside of
Yes.
the walls and do,
That's why I like to do this. You can hold 1 foot right here on the edge of the goals and be over here playing outside, but you at least know where you're supposed to be.
Yes. Yes.
Because you've had the muscle memory, you know what you can hold, you know what your
Yes.
strength is. So I also find that for me, writing it on paper helps me get honest, because if I write something, I can read it back and go, oh, that's not accurate, or that's not true. Is there anything that writing helps you process in addition to what you've got in your mind? How does
Yes.
how does that writing help
Absolutely.
imprint?
Well, it's just the exercise of taking here and here and putting it on paper and actually reading it back. So a lot of times I will read back to myself, like you said, you had journal things and you read back, and you're like, whoa, I can't believe I was in that spot. And I just want to say too, because back in 2020, I got caught in a rut, for lack of a better word, and I decided to rewrite my story. And the 300 things that I wrote down back then have all manifested and become true.
Isn't it amazing?
I'm living in my dream home. I moved, engaged to the amazing man in the world. So it is true. And I did that while being my most authentic me and loving myself.
Yes.
That's the message I want to get across is, yes, writing is critical. Loving yourself is the most important gift that you can give to yourself.
And I love that you shared that. Because I love a toy and a visual. This is when you're loving yourself and your goals are all in alignment, you just swim around in this beautiful space inside the balloon. So all the expansion, there's still going to be bumps and bruises anytime there's growth, anytime you're learning something new, but you're in that safe place. So even if you fall, you're falling in your safe space.
Yes.
So I really appreciate you sharing that. What's coming up next with you that we can look forward to in our last? Oh, first, before I don't want us to run out of time, how can we find you?
You can find me, Janine Emily on Facebook, laceandgrit.com.
Okay.
And you can, contact me through that. So as I stated, this is And I am writing another chapter. I am in the process of writing my life story, and this is kind of a segue to that. It's called Survivor of the Weird because, you know, there have been some pretty crazy things that have happened to me.
Yes.
And I want to, you know, spread hope to the world that, you know, your past is the past. What you do now is so critical. Everybody has a voice, right? We have a voice, whether you're singing it, whether you're writing it. It's all about the heart of the matter. And you are the best you that you could be. Okay, you're the only you.
That's
So
exactly
get your story out there, and that's exactly what I'm doing.
Okay, we'll be right back and we'll talk more about some of the magic, and it's all up to you. We'll talk more about this after we come right back.
Misty Lee, I love you, girl. I appreciate you so much. You're so gifted and talented and giving. I thank you so much for being there on the day of my book launch. You were right there all along the way, cheering me on, directing, giving me, you know, the help and support I needed on one of the biggest days of my life. And I can't, words don't really work to express how grateful I am to you. Thank you for who you are as a person. Thank you for all the things you've overcome to be who you are right now, impacting the planet in the way that you are. I adore you. I appreciate you. Mwah!
Hello and welcome back. As you can see, I've brought my friends with me. I'm going to let them go. We'll start with Angela. Just introduce yourself and let everyone know where you're from, and then we'll get back to the business of writing.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Angela Jeffries. I'm from Oklahoma City. I am a farmer's insurance agent, and I have an agency in Oklahoma City.
Very nice.
Hi, I'm Tammy Thomas. I'm from Henrietta, Oklahoma, and I am a two-time international best-selling author.
Yes, you
And
are.
I am a quantum writer, and I am changing lives.
Yes, you are. And you met Janine, but one more time.
I'm still Janine Emily. I'm a singer-songwriter, producer, and now a #1 international best-selling author. And I live in Plano, Texas.
All right. And I'm Misty Lee, and I am in the beautiful Western Arkansas, right on the Oklahoma line on the edge of the Ouachitas. And I am also the CEO of Campground TBD Publishing. So I met Miss Angela in my former life. She knew me when I was heavy. She knew me when I was still using alcohol and tobacco. She knew me when I was not this joyful, abundant light that I am now. And she loved me through the whole thing. So I really appreciate her coming here today. And so we're going to just kind of have some conversation. And then I'm going to ask Miss Tammy to share a little bit when you're ready about your story. So if you want to pull that up, I'll ask Miss Angela a question. Before we get into the ones that we talked about, I want you to say what you have said about watching me. And it's not because, I want to be clear, this is not because I need to hear anything great about me. I am in love with myself. But I love that she has been able to witness what I'm telling you to be true, what Janine is telling you to be true, because sometimes it's hard to see just two smiling women going, life is wonderful, and we just wrote it that way. But Angela's been here to watch me and hold me accountable to the old me. So tell me, Angela, what do you think about the transformation?
Well, I'm not sure I held her accountable because Misty has did a wonderful transformation. I mean, I watched her come from the corporate world. I mean, being CEO, running a business, to teaching class. She taught me, and she was wonderful then. And then when she told me she was doing this, she's going to give it all up, and she's going to go off the grid, and she's going to start this new life. And I seen her lose all this weight, and then I seen her just do this whole transformation and becoming this amazing person. And then as I watched her journey, and I was like, wow. And I was like, and I kept, reaching out to her as I'm watching. I was like, how are you able to do this? Because, anytime there's a change, you always got a bunch of naysayers, and it's like, oh, you can't do that. And why are you giving up this life? I mean, cars, houses, money. I mean, why are you giving up this life? We're living a great life. I mean, we are insurance agents. Life is great. We're helping people. And she wants to go simplicity. She wants to live off the grid in nature. And I watched her raise chickens, chase snakes. I mean, I just seen all this stuff. And then I seen but the glow I saw as she did this transformation, as I seen the weight come off and I seen the smile. She had a smile. The smile got larger. The voice got louder. I mean, she was wanting to help, heal, and just want to reach out to people. And then as I watched it, and I'm like, wow. And then she started writing these books. And I was like, okay, I got to get a book. And then I started seeing the stories that she wrote and the healing and the transformation that comes out of that. And then when she did the quantum writing, I looked in and I was like, wow. When I seen that she had the misspelled chapters in your life, that really touched me because a lot of us have misspelled chapters. And so when she said that you can rewrite misspelled chapters, it gave me inspiration. And so, I'm actually here to support and hopefully somebody can reach out to her at Cal Brown Publishing and kind of get some of the same thing I've got, because it's really inspired me to be a better version of me. And I'm just excited for her. I'm excited for me being a part of it, because I'm trying to rewrite some chapters in my life, not on the scale that she's done it. We all got to take baby steps, but she's been amazing, and I'm loving it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I feel like I could let you just be my cheerleader all day. And I want to give you some props because I have watched you. You told me something at one of our book launches, and you said I inspired you to start making some changes of your own. And I've watched you step into a very bright light and become a very bold corporate woman. And I want to applaud you for that because you have the louder voice, and especially as a woman, especially as an African American woman and small business owner, I applaud that you're standing up straight and that you're shining bright and putting your picture out there. So thank you for being here.
I was taking notes.
And yes, thank you very much for your support from everything I've ever done. So I want to make sure we get Miss Tammy to read a clip. So these women have written with me in anthologies, and those are small chapter books where each author puts together about a 1,500 word piece. And that's, if I were talking, that would be about a 10-minute talk. Well, if I were talking, it'd be about a 5-minute talk. Most people talking, it would be about a 10-minute talk. But we're all talking about what one subject means to us. We did one on alignment. Tammy and I also did one called Here Comes the Sun, which was coming out of darkness into the light. And now we're working on one called Now What? And that is protecting that space after a growth or a change or a decision so that you don't backslide with those naysayers, and how to protect that. So Tammy's going to read us about a short clip out of her upcoming chapter in Now What? Go ahead, Tammy.
Now what? This is not the story I thought I was going to tell. It, however, is the story that needs to be told. I have been with my husband for 20 years. Do you have any idea how many now whats there are in 20 years? I'm sorry, I lost my place, guys. There are countless now whats in a 20-year relationship. It all begins with the first night we met. He was a decent guy. He was intelligent. He was kind and mannerly. He was worth inviting over for coffee. He came to my house that day, and we began the next 20 years of relationship. We spent the night together with our clothes on for almost a week before he kissed me. I believe there was a huge amount of now what being asked in both of our minds at that point. I knew this was important. I chose to become intimate and see where our relationship would go. We spent countless days and hours talking, learning about each other and what was important to each of us. To be completely honest, the things we had in common were mainly values, not hobbies or interests necessarily. I am a spiritual person. He is too. We, however, came from very different homes. I grew up in an affluent zip code. I graduated with the same people I started kindergarten with. My husband was raised a Jehovah's Witness and moved every 6 to 12 months. I grew up with everything money could buy. Money and things did not make up for the abuse. He grew up with very little. The sad truth is he was abused as well. He suffered emotional, physical, and religious abuse. Every day had always been a now what in many ways for both of us. At this point, I did not know we were special. I did not realize the power of getting up and deciding now what every day. I've got that superpower. I have been through many traumas. I've always gotten up and persevered to the next now what. Now what happens every day in the small moments. Now what? Do I lay here or do I get up and get dressed? Now what? Do I see problems or solutions? Now what? Make the best choice for today. Now what? Do the thing you don't want to do. Now what? Take the first step towards your dreams. Sometimes now what is a reflection. It's a remembering where you have been, allowing for the most sublime appreciation for where you are now. Now what has saved my life more than once. It is a sense of discovery. At times, now what has been a challenge. Now what is a way forward, a way through. Now what has been a way to stay together through the trials and tribulations of a 20-year relationship. Any 20-year relationship has ups and downs, trials and tribulations. We did not escape those. To be continued.
Love it. I love it, Tammy. Thank you so much. So I have watched Tammy grow from, I don't think I have anything to write about, to this in less than 1 year. And so I want to share that with you right before we go to break, because I want you to know that writing is for you. Should you get to the point where you want to share it with someone else, that's beautiful. But just start the writing process with you. And you might be amazed what comes out just a few months later. Her first piece was amazing, but I think what you've got going here is great. So when we come back from break, we're going to have our panel here to kind of finish up and go over a little bit more that writing can do for us magically. And anything else you want to share, Tammy, before we go to break?
Yes, quantum writing 300 is huge. Guys, get the notebook. It changes your life. You've got to be honest. You come up with 300 things, you got to be honest with yourself to come up with 300 things.
Yeah.
You start thinking about, oh, wait a minute. Is that, well, you know what? I don't have that because I don't want to have that.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of honesty that comes in there. So get your book and get honest. It changes your life.
Thank you. All right, we'll be right back after this, and we will have more for you. Stay tuned for just a few minutes.
So step one, if you're not ready to talk to someone else, write it for yourself and be mindful. Say write 3 pages. Be mindful of the 3 pages. How much was negative? So I always say write it all out. Get it out once. And then if you don't have someone to hold you accountable to stand up and find your energy again, you have to do it. You have to hold your accountables. So yourself accountable. So write that all out. Get it out one time. Tell the story one time. Then go back and take out all the negative. So you can say, you could write volumes of 13 years of depression. Or you can simply say, after 13 years of depression, I had had enough. Pages become a sentence, and then write from that spot. Don't keep writing the negative.
Hello, hello. We are back. Once upon a time, discovering the road to your personal fairy tale on Misty Lee, Campground TBD Publishing. And I am joined today with Angela Jeffries, Tammy Thomas, and Janine Emily. I also in the background have amazing backup, and we will bring them all in at the end. But I just want you to know it took a huge family to put this all together. Behind the scenes, outside, remotely, Dr. Lauren working the buttons in, I think, cold and rainy Chicago. In our last few minutes, we want to talk a little bit more about specifically what we're talking about when we say writing for purpose, with purpose, and like what Angela talked about rewriting misfiled chapters. I find that when I write stories about what I do want, I'm able to see some of the things that I made up stories about with money. And I'm going to give you a personal example. Sometimes negative things happen and they're real. I do think that most of the time our stress is based on things that we're imagining could be happening and they haven't really happened yet. But every once in a while we do get one of those real life that hurt, some kind of loss, some kind of grief. So that's really one of those now what positions that you can use writing. This horrible thing happened. Grief has got to occur, and that is going to be this channel here. What writing allows you to do is say, okay, My son, I have a child that was in a horrible car accident. He's fine now, thankfully, but there were a few days that I was really not having a great time. Thank you, who's joining us. So I could have been writing about what if, but I just chose to write the story of us outside of the hospital once he had already been released, rather than even entertaining the ideas of what had gone wrong. Now, thankfully, my son was fine and healed. I also have a child, however, who's 27 and he is a newborn baby. So he's with me. But that is a forever situation that I could easily write negative about. But what I just do is ask myself, okay, you had a rough night. Okay, you suffered this loss. Okay, you lost money in crypto. Okay, whatever it was, now what? And just start your journal entry from that moment. So whatever, anything that's going on in your day, I was trying to think of something that we could use specifically, but I always go with a flat tire. If you've had a flat tire, there's no reason to write it in your journal, because now what? We've already know we had a flat tire. We already know how we felt about it. We know we kicked the car. We know what cuss words we said. There's no reason to imprint that. So I just asked myself, now what? And I'm going to ask you guys to share other ways that writing may have helped you. So I'll just go with one more and then we'll kind of come around and bring this in before we bring Dr. Lauren in. I've also written for companionship. Angie mentioned earlier that I went and I lived off grid for a while, and I lived so off grid that I was the only sounds that I heard for quite some time. So I wrote for companionship, and I found that writing in that beautiful story that I was creating, not only did I figure out what I wanted in a partner, because I began writing how our dates would look, I also began learning what I would want in a home, which I actually happen to live in that home right now, because I began dreaming of this cabin in the woods that I would want to live in. So because I began to build this story, I had a companion with myself. And it really helped me to avoid feelings of loneliness that I had experienced in the past, especially during the pandemic when we were so separated. So companionship is one of the ways that I've used writing. Has anyone else got something that wants to come to mind? Yeah, go ahead, Janine.
COVID, when it hit, I was in Seattle at the time, and I was single, living in a really old house that was falling apart. Couldn't go outside. The weather was really bad, and writing saved my life. I mean, I was writing. It was my companion. Mm-hmm. It truly was. And I was I've always been a big dreamer, and that's when I started rewriting my entire story. And, with the help of the Lord above and spirit voices, it truly was a saving grace for me to have that writing tool.
And I don't want to get too off topic, but I do believe the more you write, the more you hear that voice.
Yeah.
I believe that 100%. Angie, have you started the quantum writing 300?
If you hadn't got this book, I'm telling you, it's gonna take some thinking when you start off on this book, writing the things that you want, you desire, and you see yourself. But you have to look at it like this. You have to reintroduce yourself to people, because a lot of times people think of the old you. And so you know who you are within inside, and you know what you want, you know what you desire. So you have to put it down for yourself, make yourself accountable. And it's going to be scary, because there's some things that you're used to that you're going to have to give up to get to that destination that who you really are. Mm-hmm. Becoming who you are, you have to, I say you have to get rid of the naysayers. You got to get focused. I mean, you have to quit procrastinating. And so that's one of the things that I took from, I like this book. So that's one of the things I took from that book is the misspelled chapters. You're going to have to rewrite those chapters that you have in your life to become a better you. You're not 20 anymore. I'm not 20 anymore. I'm 50 now. So for people that address me, they have to understand that I am a new person now, and you have to, recreate yourself and show people who you are. Rewrite those chapters, those misspelled chapters, those naysayers, those doubters. Rewrite your chapter. Let them see who you are. Come from within and bring it out. Let that light shine.
That's right.
Let your light shine.
Right. Yes, that is right. All right, we have about 30 seconds left, I think. Tammy, do you have anything that you want to bring in?
This creates a level of honesty with yourself that is seriously life-changing.
Yeah.
And it is almost immediate. You will start to see the winks that tells you that you're putting it together the way it's going to be.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I think we are coming up on break. When we come back, Dr. Lauren and I will have a little bit of conversation about how you can take writing to the next level and change the life for you. Quantum writing, I know we'll have the links for you to get that. It's available on Amazon. And we'll have some more exciting stories coming up about writing and what it can do for you.
This world is changing more and more every day, and we've decided to change right along with it. My name is Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the president of Trajectory TV Network. At Trajectory, our vision is to provide a comfortable, creative platform for top content creators and storytellers from around the globe. We're also dedicated to providing this world with content that is healing, educational, empowering, exciting, and above all else, entertaining and transparent. So right now, I invite all of you who believe yourselves to be global game changers to use the link found here and simply take a chance. Schedule a virtual chat where you'll have the opportunity to share your vision for your very own global television show with me, the network president. So use that link, and together, let's begin changing and healing this world, one story at a time. And remember, whether you have years of experience in front of the camera or zero experience, it doesn't matter. What matters the most is your desire to share great content through television and a willingness to share it with passion and with purpose. You might ask, how do I know if I've fallen in love with my purpose and my purpose has fallen in love with me? It's easy when you've lost your voice because you just can't stop talking about it. I'll see you soon.
King 217.
Hello, hello. Welcome back. Misty Lee, Campground TVD Publishing. And we are going to be bringing this home, our 90-minute session, finishing up on how you can take your writing to the next level. I would love for you to come and work with me, but I want you to know that you are whole and complete with your paper and your pen at home. If you do this exercise, you will change your life. You will see things happen. You've heard from people here. You can check online with Steve Harvey. I actually saw someone on Dr. Lauren's Bathrobe Moments just 2 mornings ago who had done this challenge and had 70 things coming off this list. So these are not my words. This isn't woo-woo. I was in a life insurance class 20 years ago, and the man who was the top salesperson, I asked him, tell me really what's your secret? And he said, I just ask everyone for what I want them to do. And I said, no, I need you to really tell me how to do this. He said, it's really that simple. Just ask. And I'm telling you, it really is this simple. I need you to trust that you can ask for the dreams that you have. You can create the life that you like. You can get honest with yourself by putting it on paper, whether you intend for anyone to read it or not. If you want to make massive change, you can also work with me and my team. You can work with me one-on-one. If you've got a message you want to share with people and you don't know how to start, you can publish as a baby step with me in one of my amazing anthologies where we serve other people with what we've learned in life while also growing as authors and as people through our writing skills. I also help people one-on-one with weight loss and post-sobriety to help you maintain that space. And any area that you really want to expand, I want you to feel comfortable reaching out to me and working with me. There are a couple different ways that quantum writing can help you. Before we come to that, I want to give you an example. Because I mentioned this quantum writing, it has nothing to do with math. So I just want to make sure we're bringing that home and bringing it in your heart. So quantum writing simply means writing what you do want and making sure that every word that you've written is what you do want. So I'm going to give you a really personal example. I am looking, I've been single for a long time. And so I was making a list of what I did want in a partner. And so rather than listing, I want A, B, C, and D, I just wrote a story. So I know what a perfect date looks like. I know what a perfect dinner looks like. It doesn't mean that I wouldn't tolerate anything less. It just means that there will never be a, I don't know what I want for dinner moment for me because I've imagined this so much. I have taken myself into that moment of gratitude that I am excited about a dinner I haven't even had yet. And I vibrate at that level. So I'm going to see Dr. Lauren coming on the screen. We're going to have some question and answers to finish this up. But I want you to know this energy is what we're going for. Hello, Dr. Lauren.
Hello, Misty Lee. So, you see what I did there, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody knows how television works, or at least you should. It's a run of show, a schedule, written down. But Misty thought I was coming in about 4 minutes ago, and I just waited because sometimes we have to write as we are entering into the moment. And it hadn't been discussed yet, so I thought, well, just let me create a reality moment, and that'll take care of that. So, and you see how you immediately filled in between the lines. See, I wanted to just say this because I'm a true champion of your work and many of the people in that room with you right now. But I remember before I met any of you years ago when someone said to me, Lauren, make sure you write everything that matters down. That's the first thing you do when you want to separate yourself from the dummies. And it's not to call anybody out of their name. It is just a fact. And so I wanted to understand or get to the understanding through some questions with you as we wrap up today. We've got about 9 minutes. About reading between the lines as well as we write on the line, because that, I believe, is the epitome of the inside of what you were holding up, your 3D example earlier, and the inside and outside and where we remain. So, Misty, I want to ask you, so let's start this off with this question. Because inquiring minds, i.e. nosy me, wants to know, were you or did you consider yourself a spiritual person prior to becoming sober, or was that something that happened after your
Well after. I actually was quite adamantly against all things spiritual or religious until about, I've been sober 9 years and 4 days, and I think I've been spiritual about 2 years, and I would consider myself having a relationship with any type of God about 5 months. So very, very much after.
Well, that's interesting. That kind of in the big picture, you're still an infant in many ways. So
the more noise I've quieted out, the easier that voice has been able for me to hear.
Okay, that's what I was headed for, because you started with that at the beginning, the front end of today's show. So what took you so long? Are you just traditionally a late bloomer? Were you angry?
Possibly.
Wait, hold it. That
Yes,
that was a comma, not a period, not a question mark. That was a comma. There's more to it. So, because I'm just going to put it out there, this is important because a lot of us are afraid of what we'll see should we start pouring everything from within out on paper. So I want you to look, it took you that long. Why? What was it in writing that helped get that splinter, if you will, out of your spiritual soul?
Well, and I love the question, Lauren. For 9 years, I wrote the same story. And I actually have all my old journals that I wrote about 2 to 3 weeks in. And when I went back to review them, it was a very similar dialogue in each journal. So the difference was I finally stopped writing from behind because I already knew I had messed up. I already knew I had made the mistakes. I'd used the alcohol, I'd used the drugs. I'd lived on I was home. We've talked about this. I've lived in a car as well. So I didn't need to write all those things again. I could write the new life. And then the biggest thing is I had to trust that Misty would not mess it up. Misty Lee, and that's my birth name, and that's why I've reintroduced my name of my birth name. Misty Lee holds this I hold my alignment very precious to me. And that's why I write from that space of alignment now, because I was writing from a space of the rut. My life is, my life is, my life is. And now I write from my life is headed this way. I'm going here. I'm already grateful for.
Okay. That sounds really good. Really good. But there are those out there today that want to know, in your heaviest moment, you had many ups and downs between 9 years and 2 years ago, or whenever it was.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think it was, Misty, that actually open the door, fasten the seatbelt around you and what is now your purpose. Because without that other piece, like you said yourself, it's just a wish. Doesn't tell us what we need. It only it gives us excuses because of what we think we want. So, what was that defining moment? I mean, there's always a breakthrough in my experience. There's a breakdown, rather, right before a breakthrough. So talk about that, because I believe somebody needs that today.
Yeah. Yeah, and exactly. So I started identifying that I'm a person who's great at putting out fires, coming from behind, overcoming obstacles, all the words that I was this warrior and unstoppable. And it just dawned on me one day in a conversation with an author named Ruth Hiller. I asked her, I said, why is it that we can overcome so much when we're down? Like, why are we so good at that? And then we get in these moments. And I just dawned on me, well, because I quit lifting the weight. I was lifting these 100-pound weights to dig myself out. And it took a lot of energy to get thin and to get sober. But once I got there, I put the weights down and I lost that muscle. So the difference was I decided to keep writing even when life was going well, and to go ahead and write past that. And it wasn't a lack of gratitude. Right. I was in love with my life and writing for the abundance on its way to me.
Okay.
And that was the biggest difference.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that. I'm watching the clock, and I know we need to put the information out there about the giveaways and all of that. So I want you to give us a 1 minute from the heart now. You got one shot at this. You got one shot at this. You know, we all believe in full transparency. We grow into that. It is past the fear and into the light. So could you share with the audience, during the build out of what we've experienced here today in the last 80 some minutes, what would you say was your most difficult moment that you converted? I believe you had to have written something down about it. And you know the moment in which I speak of. How did you do it? What did you do to transform that difficult moment into this divine moment we live within right now?
I treated it like it was sobriety. I treated it like I was standing there with a drug in my hand and having to make a decision to not do what I wanted to do.
What happened?
What was my dark moment?
Yeah, what was your hardest part of doing what you did today? That you didn't know about yourself, maybe, until...
in TV production?
About this show.
Yeah, I had to learn so much that I honestly, and Lauren had to experience this firsthand. Things I didn't even know I didn't know. And I've considered myself a very intelligent person. So what I learned was, no matter what you know, you've got to release and surrender that life is going to be exactly as it should be. And as long as I'm in alignment and coming from a place of pure intention, my message is going to reach the right ear, and it's going to trickle down to the right person that needs to hear it at exactly the right time. And I know that for sure after getting ready for this show this week.
All right. That's what I was looking for. So in other words, every time we put a syllable, I just want you guys to remember this, you too, Misty, as we get out of here, why I believe in your work and the work of all the people that are courageous enough to share their stories. I haven't even written mine down yet. Haven't found that piece. Haven't picked that scab. But I'll tell you this. When you leave something behind that the world can find for hundreds of years, you've done a powerful thing. You've done a powerful thing. There is healing. If our tears were words, think of all the books we all would have written by now. So just think about that. And as we get out of here, I want to ask you next, Misty, and I do encourage all of you out there. You may not know me from Adam, but I'm telling you, there is power in the word, spoken and written. So if you want something to be, speak it. Like Steve said, ask for it, say it. And when you mean it, it will become meaningful somewhere in this universe. You best believe. Misty, tell them what you can find. Well, I'll say this part here. There you see on the screen. Follow Misty and all that she's doing with this beautiful, beautiful work, Quantum Writing 300, over on Facebook. She's got a group and a whole bunch of other great things. Misty, tell them about the giveaway right here.
If you've got something in Waiter, you can put your comments, your email in the links. We will send you a PDF of my new journal that came out. It's quantum journaling. It's only 41 pages, and it'll tell you everything you need to know. If you'd like to write with me and now what, please get with me at calendly.com, Campground TBD. And Lauren, bravo to you for your chapter in a line. It was amazing. A little short piece of your really incredible story. So congratulations for you for becoming #1 on that chapter as
You're
well.
awesome. Well, thank you. I couldn't have done it without you. I wouldn't have done it if you hadn't asked me, because I thought, that story was in the books, literally. Done.
Great job.
Thought it was finished, but I learned a lot from doing it anyway. Listen, everybody, get out there, have the best day ever. Misty, great job. And all of you there in the room and all of you in the room of this world, get out today and be the very best you. If you've got an idea, you've got a pain, you've got anything, come on in the picture, everybody.
All right, everybody.
And you write it down.
Thank you, everyone. This is my great team behind the scenes. Everyone from Quantum Writing saying hello and thank
Put
you.
over, guys. Yeah. There you go. Everybody, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you on the next side in the next chapter of your story. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Living rhythm is inside each one of us. It's the essence of who we are. This rhythm that's a part of us. A living rhythm inside of me. I hear it beat me like a drum. To reach the highest frequency, I must return to it.